Okay, hi everyone. So, welcome to CLLST, and today we have Divas Upadhyay with us, who is AIR 6 in AILET and CLAT 38 rank. So, first of all, a big congratulations for getting into two of the top national law school of country, NLS and NLUD. So, how's the
Thank you.
feeling? And sink in kar paaye ho, ya still there is an excitement
There,
over vibe?
okay, so feeling is good, obviously, pretty exciting. Sink
Okay.
in करने में थोड़ा time लगेगा because when I checked my answer key, it was around 110, and
Okay.
the my friends in my study group also had around the same score. So I thought maybe it's more common than I think it is. So I was
Okay.
unsure कि मेरा दिल्ली में होगा या नहीं, and then I saw six, and I was
Okay, so you are from
surprised.
Delhi?
Yeah. No, no, I'm not from Delhi.
Okay,
I'm actually from Vadodara, Gujarat.
okay. Okay, so tell me something about yourself, your background, your family, and how's the feeling of your parents?
Yeah, so I'm Divas Upadhyay, obviously, and I'm originally from Rajasthan, but I reside in Gujarat. Currently in class 12th in humanities stream, and yeah, I enjoy reading and writing just like any other CLAT aspirant, playing chess, watching movies, listening to music, all of that. My parents are obviously very proud. They've been very happy since the past week, and
Okay.
it's a joyful moment for all of us. Yeah.
But yes, your parents after a week or so will be like, focus on your board. Your board is coming.
No, no, actually, that's one of the major reasons that I could perform well in CLAT and AILET is that my parents, my mom and dad, they never pressurized me for studying. They let me pick humanities. I had 95% in my class 10 boards, and after that, it's a struggle to be able to pick humanities because everyone wants you to opt for the sciences.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
then even if they are both teachers, my father is a principal now, so even if they were unfamiliar with a law, I'm of course I will be a first gen law student. Even if they were unfamiliar with it, they were accepting, just ready to offer any support, and they never pressurized me to do schoolwork or focus exclusively on school studies, board exams, all that. So I had a very supportive environment and home at home that contributed to this rank. Yeah.
Okay, so what was the inclination, or attractive factor behind law which actually forced you to go for humanities and law? Not forced, actually, basically, I
Haha.
can say interest.
Yeah, so humanities. So I started my preparation for CLAT in October of 11th. So I picked humanities before I knew I was going to do law. I picked humanities because I was more interested in those subjects rather than I was also interested in maths, but I didn't want to pursue engineering as a profession. So I opted for humanities as those I felt like I would resonate more with those subjects, especially after 10th. And then I got acquainted with CLAT through a counseling session where it was mentioned. And just out of curiosity, I checked out its previous year papers and the pattern, everything. And I found out that it relied a lot on my strengths: English, reading, writing. And then as I explored law more, it also relied not only on my strengths, but also on my interests: public speaking, writing, reading, then, critical thought. And of course, with the more and more I explored the legal world, the more I got interested in it. And then I said that, yeah, this is what I would like to study further.
Okay, so you basically mention all your traits, and all these are the traits of a good lawyer: good communication skill, public speaking, analytical ability, thinking, and all. Okay, moving ahead with your preparation journey, although you have already stated that you started your preparation in October when you were in 11th standard itself. So, when you look back at your journey of CLAT in ALED, was there like, first of all, what was your strategy and like how you prepared? And second, was there a time in between these preparation where you felt like कि कैसे करना है, and also in between CLAT and ALET your result was out
Yeah.
and you already knew that you are getting into NLS? Then while attempting ALET, how did you keep yourself calm and composed? That is something which
Okay.
I would want to know.
Yeah. So, starting with my strategy, I would say my emphasis was to make my reading sections as strong as possible because, as I mentioned, I think that was my major strength. And maths, I think since CLAT doesn't ask too advanced maths, it was doable for me. Like most of the CLAT aspirants, I wasn't afraid of it. So these, I stuck to these two aspects of the paper. And for GK, I was pretty weak at GK, and that's where the part where I was fluctuating and I didn't know what to do. All those things came in, and yeah, it was because there are so many sources to follow, and so many people offer different forms of advice. Ye karo, wo karo, newspaper padho, newspaper mat padho. So it can get it's the most confusing and dicey section of both CLAT and AILET, more so for CLAT. But then later on, there were also many depths, especially when school exams were around and I had to shift my focus. But later on, I had a study partner. She's also All India rank 60 in AILET. And then I found a group. We called it GK General Kabutars near the end of my preparation, and that helped a lot because we would just sit in a meeting for 5 to 6 hours, and we would all follow different sources and tell each other, just explain GK to each other, and that helped a lot in how to study, what to study, and uh, I think even if CLAT GK was more reading based, I also scored 25 out of 30 in AILET GK. They both were easy, but I think it was a more so weak section for me, and I could, to an extent, overcome it where I could get a good rank. Uh, so that was my journey. For strategy, I think mostly solve sectionals, solve mocks regularly, just the usual. I think what is most important for aspirants to remember is that CLAT is not a syllabus based test, it is an aptitude test. So you'll have phases where you will score terribly, where you will feel like itne score pe to kuch nahi hoga. But it's an aptitude test. It's based more so on practice than how much you know. You may not be able to perform at that particular time. You have to figure out why you couldn't perform and then overcome it. Coming to the between CLAT and AILET part, so after checking the provisional key, I actually had a very good score. It was around 103.75, and even after the final key, it was 100.5. That was my actual score in CLAT as well. So going into AILET, I was nervous the night before because I also had to travel 3 hours to reach my center for AILET. But when while giving AILET, I was confident कि CLAT में अच्छा college तो मिल जाएगा. 100 plus is a good score. तो अच्छा college तो मिल जाएगा. And I'd solved previous year question papers for AILET. So even though that week was stressful to an extent, I think the fact that I had a good score in the answer keys made me a little relieved that I have something as a backup, and that really helped me perform in AILET. Especially when I saw that AILET had returned to its old 2022 pattern, I found that to be quite favorable, and I thought I could attempt the entire paper in 2 hours after seeing the pattern. So that made me more confident I could actually attempt the whole paper in those 2 hours.
Okay, so summing up, whatever you have suggested, it's the perfect strategy where a student shall go ahead with. And obviously, previous year paper plays a great role. And second is, I would want to interact with the group called GK General Kabutar. I would want to
Yeah.
know what you guys used to, discuss and all. Okay. Next is obviously now you are in a better position and you can advise the future aspirants as well. So if you have to give them a quick advice, like with respect to practicing mocks or like whatever you feel like, what is one thing which you would want to tell them?
Okay, so first of all, the most important thing that I want to tell them, and I've been seeing some junior aspirants as well, uh, who are thinking of giving up on GK because because the GK in CLAT 2024 was reading based. I was advise them to still continue with GK because you never know what CLAT might return to. This can cause controversies. This cannot cause controversies. Paper difficulty, everything. Don't rely on just 1 year's papers to assess your next year's preparation. I would say what you can do is not have GK as your sole focus. Don't have it as, okay, I can not score good if GK is not good. Don't rely on it in that way, but do continue to study it. Focus on other sections as well, and don't just give up on a particular section because the previous year paper had some faults in it. And other advice is that I think it's very important for CLAT aspirants to interact with other aspirants because at the end of the day, CLAT and AILET are very subjective papers. There is no one definite answer. It's not math, it's not science. There are various ways to reach the correct answer. There are various different thought processes that lead you to different answers. So interacting with more aspirants, analyzing your mocks with someone else is important because it gives you an insight, not just what strategies they are using, but what is their approach during mocks. Why did they think of this answer and I didn't? And why did I think of this answer and they didn't? So it's not about whether you get the correct answer or not. It's about how you reach that particular answer. So getting insight from other people is very important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
coming
that's about
and
it.
adding, summing up your point, it is not only about, analyzing with your peer group, but also sometimes the answer or the explanation which is given by faculty may be different from you. So it's
Yeah,
always good to also get into their shoes and figure out ki, acha, why they went ahead with option and why I went ahead with that option.
yeah.
So that actually give you a great idea and makes you
Huh. So
understand your, yeah, sorry.
so we had this like I had this personal rule. Whenever I am so while explaining, obviously you defend your own answer, but before that, whenever you are trying to defend a particular answer, at this rule I will always defend the answer that is given by the coaching institute that made the mock. I'll try to defend their reasoning. I'll try to think why this particular answer, if not their reasoning that they have explained, maybe some other reasoning. And if I find that no, this reasoning is not convincing, then I'll try to defend my answer. Because what happens is when you start with defending your own answer, you'll always end up convincing yourself कि नहीं मैं ही सही हूँ ये वाले गलत है. But when you maybe try to think, अच्छा, when you start with why they might be correct, you can convince yourself, okay, this is where I might have gotten the question wrong. So if you tried the other way around, पहले देखो उनका क्यों सही है और फिर अगर लगता है कि it's too ridiculous or it's not fitting enough, then you can convince yourself, okay, maybe my reasoning wasn't bad here.
Okay, so yeah, I've got a great idea, and obviously, the points which you have covered is going to help the future aspirants, and not only future CLAT aspirant, but those who are aiming for other exams also and would be taking up, like for example, MHCT is there, SLAT is there in upcoming months. So I think they can learn a lot from what you have suggested. Also, since you are still in 12th and you must not have thought from that perspective, but if I ask you like what you are aiming after 5 years, so have you thought of this or you have just, you know, it's
Okay.
like "वो के साथ आएगा."
हाँ हाँ या दैट्स एन इशू फॉर मी एज वेल कि जो होगा देखा जाएगा. तो राइट नाउ आई एम थिंकिंग ऑफ so I'm not interested in corporate law. I might consider it, but as of now, I'm not interested in it. I might go for judiciary or administration. I think litigation and corporate law is set aside right now, and I'm thinking more so about judiciary and civil services. So keeping this in mind, I would like to first enter the college, and during the first year, I would explore all the possibilities available to me, and then make a decision. But yeah, right now my inclination is more on the government end of things.
Yes, so when you once you enter into college, you actually when you get to see the environment in your surroundings, you get a better idea, and your horizon also gets widened, and you get to know, acha, these are the options which I can explore. So all the best for that, and enjoy your 5 years in law school, whichever whether you are opting for NLS or NLUD, you'll have multiple options to explore, to enjoy, एंड ये 5 साल कैसे निकल जाता है ना, यू वोंट इवन रियलाइज. ऐसे सुनने में बहुत लगता है कि ओ दिस इज 5 इयर्स कोर्स बहुत बड़ा है, बट व्हेन वी वर इन लॉ स्कूल हमें पता ही नहीं चला 5 साल कैसे निकल गया. सो ऑब्वियसली दैट इज गोना हैपन विद यू ऑल्सो. So all the best for your law school and also all the best for your board exam, and keep yourself calm and composed and do well in boards as well. Thank you
Thank you very
so much
much.
for joining us, Devas, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.